Hello, my Bill 5000 Nation. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. If not, I hope it gets better from here. We are back with another lazy masquerade. This one is titled Seven Shocking Unsolved Mysteries with Chilling Clues. This is actually suggested by a subscriber. Yeah, yeah, this one was suggested by a subscriber. Alright, I'm excited to get into this story. Go ahead, turn them lights down low, put on something comfy, cuddle up with something special. Hmm, let's get mysterious. Yes.
Trust is a hard thing to come by in this world, as can be seen when looking into this first bizarre case. 2011, Japan. 27-year-old Mayumi Arashi was at home with her father, her sister, and her 18-month-old baby. At one point in the afternoon, she became visibly flustered and uncomfortable. She quickly made her way out the front door, saying that she had plans to meet an old classmate of hers. Day became night, and the young mother still hadn't returned home. Worried about her well-being, her family began searching for her. Mayumi's sister, Yoko, contacted the former classmate Mayumi said she was meeting. Lo and behold, no such meeting had taken place, and the classmate said that the two of them had never agreed to meet to begin with. Mayumi had lied. But why?
Did she? I mean, the other person could be lying though too. What are we supposed to do? Take this person's word just because we called them on the phone? I ain't taking your word, but
Later that evening, Yoko discovered a note left by Mayumi. She brought it to the attention of the police. The note mentioned a man known to the media as A. It read as follows: "To my family, I've been betrayed by A. This could be my punishment for betraying my husband. I'm sorry." What on earth was this cryptic message supposed to mean? What was Mayumi hinting at? An affair of some kind? How had
ooh,
this A betrayed her? So many questions raised by such a short...
maybe it's a dude whose name begins with A, right? Maybe it's a girl whose name begins with A. I mean, that's what the letter sounded like to me. It sounded like, A betrayed him. I mean, I don't know what the betrayal would be, like if they was going to go and tell the husband. I don't know, it feels like maybe another guy or a girl that she was sleeping with and they was going to go and tell the husband everything, maybe.
note. In addition to finding this message, Yoko also stated that she had received a call from A himself. Apparently, he claimed to have met with Mayumi in the afternoon when she disappeared, and said that he wanted to go to jail if Mayumi ever turned up dead. Another cryptic clue. Was A trying to express...
So A is another dude and already said that he would be willing to go to jail. This is sounding shifty. It's sounding very shifty.
that he felt guilty if Mayumi killed herself? Or was he hinting at the fact that he had killed her? The next morning, the police were able to track down A. They saw him walking into a forested area carrying 2 cartons of juice. They pursued him into the woods, but lost track of him. They haven't been able to find him since. It definitely seemed like something sinister had happened to Mayumi, be that suicide, abduction, or murder. Still, at least the case was progressing. That was mostly thanks to Yoko, who, up to this point, had collected most of the clues. Then, the mystery took an unexpected turn. The case blew up on the internet after an interview with Mayumi's father was posted by a Japanese news station. It wasn't what he said in the interview that made it go viral. It's what was spotted in the background. There, posted on the wall behind Mayumi's father, was a note. The note was in Mayumi's handwriting. It read, "Don't trust what Yoko says." Nobody knows what this mysterious note is referring to, or why it was put there. It was
So the girl that's missing put the note there saying don't trust what Yoko says, and Yoko's the girl that's missing sister that's trying to find her. Did she? Oh.
wasn't addressed during the interview, and apparently the news team didn't even notice it, despite it being clearly visible. It's difficult to find sources for this case which aren't in Japanese, but there are some interesting theories being discussed online. Whatever the case, it's obvious that somebody's lying, and at least one member of Mayumi's family knows more about her disappearance than they're letting on.
Sons of bitches. I mean, if her sister did have something to do with it, that's fault. She had an 18-month-old baby, man. Probably out of jealousy or some bullshit. No man's land.
Ah, Texas. Good
Oh.
food, blue skies, and
yeehaw!
huge open spaces with patchy cell signal. It was August 8th, 2013, just before midnight. After an argument with his wife, 26-year-old Brandon Lawson left his home in San Angelo. Needing some time to cool off, he hopped in his truck and began the journey to his father's house. He would never make it to his destination.
What?
Brandon ran out of gas on Highway 277 near Bronte. Stuck there without any options, he called up his brother Kyle, saying that he needed a lift to the nearest gas station.
Okay.
Kyle and his girlfriend agreed to help Brandon out and began making their way to him. For some unknown reason, Brandon didn't wait for his brother in his vehicle. Instead, he ended up in an undisclosed field. Then, he made this 911 call.
911 emergency.
Yes, I'm in the middle of the field. The state we're just pushing guys over. Right here going towards Javelin on both sides. My truck ran out of gas. There's one car here. You got to take it to the woods. Please hurry.
Okay, now run that by me.
We're not talking to him. I actually ran into him.
Ah, you ran into him. Okay.
Got the first guy.
Do you need an ambulance?
Yeah, no, I need the cops.
Okay. Is anybody hurt? Hello? Hello? Hello?
The exact transcript of the call is up for debate, and it's particularly hard to make out what he's trying to say.
I want to hear that. I want to hear that again. Okay, let's one more time.
Field. Then, he made this 911 call.
911 emergency.
Yes, I'm in the middle of the field. The state we're just pushing guys over. Right here going towards Javelin on both sides. My truck ran out of gas. There's one car here. You got to take it to the woods. Please hurry.
Okay, now run that by me.
We're not talking to him.
What?
Javelin on both sides. My
911 emergency.
Yes, I'm in the middle of the field. The state we're just pushing guys.
Three in the middle of the field. Three guys just came rushing down.
I'm in the middle of the field. The state we're just pushing guys over. Right here going towards Javelin on both sides. My truck ran out of gas. There's one car here. You got to take it to the woods. Please hurry.
Okay, now run that by me.
I'm not talking to him. I actually ran into him.
Ah, you ran into him. Okay.
Got the first guy.
Do you need an ambulance?
Yeah, no, I need the cops.
Okay. Is anybody hurt?
So he was talking to someone else. Someone else was there with him. And he's like, "No, I'm not with them." Like, what the fuck? This sounds like some like hunting games of some sort. Like, we gonna find you, buddy.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Did you hear that? You can barely hear it faintly.
Hello?
Turn your TVs up. I'll try to get as loud as I can, but I can only do so much.
Hello?
The exact transcript of the call is up for debate, and it's particularly hard to make out what he's trying to say at the beginning. Some think he's saying that a state trooper pulled some guys over, and others distinctly hear the word sniper. It definitely sounds.
I heard cypress, like cypress trees or something like that. I heard cypress. I heard 3 guys. I heard came rushing. I heard the hill, both sides. Like, I don't understand that part. Like, we mean both sides of the hill. Like, in between both sides of the hill. Like, I don't understand that part. And then you start talking to someone else. Like, someone was doing some messed up shit, looking for someone, and was like, "Hey, bud, you with him?" No. I said, "Hi. I don't know that person." "Are you sure you don't know that person? I'll shoot you in your face if you do." "No, I don't know." "You sure?" "Yeah, sure." "I shoot you in face anyways. You look shifty."
As if there's someone else with Brandon as well.
Yeah,
One thing does become clear.
and you could faintly hear someone talking. It almost sounded like him breathing, but there was like abruptness to the breathing. It wasn't breathing. It was someone talking, and when they were so far away, it just sounded like someone like that. It wasn't the like panting sounds. It was actual words. It was just hard to make out.
Clear when analysing the audio, though. In the background of the clip, there are at least 2 audible gunshots.
Got the first guy.
Do you need an ambulance?
Yeah, no, I need the cops.
The police eventually arrived at the
I didn't hear the gunshots the first time. I was listening too much on the voices. Holy fuck.
scene, along with Brandon's brother, Kyle. Brandon's truck had been left at a crooked angle on the road, posing a serious hazard. It seemed as if he had left in a hurry. Whatever had happened to Brandon, he was still alive at this point. Kyle received a call from his desperate brother. The signal kept going in and out, making it difficult to understand what Brandon was trying to say. What Kyle did understand, though, was that his brother was in a field 10 minutes up the road, and that he was bleeding. Things may have gone very differently that night, had a simple misunderstanding been avoided here. You see, the police weren't at the scene because of the call Brandon had made to 911. They were there because of another caller who had complained about his truck in the road. Kyle himself had no idea his brother was in danger. He thought that Brandon was hiding from the police since he had an outstanding warrant from 2 years ago. As such, he thought that his brother was bleeding because he had scratched himself on a bush and made no mention of the call to the deputies he was standing with. After some time, the lawmen drove off, saying that they'd have the vehicle towed in the morning. Kyle and his girlfriend spent some time searching for Brandon, but found no trace of him. They figured he'd gone off to a gas station. It wasn't until the next morning that everyone realized Brandon was missing. He hasn't been seen or heard from since. The money in his bank account hasn't been touched, and his cell phone has been completely inactive. From what I've heard, the area around Bronte is known for being a bit of a no man's land. Did Brandon witness something he wasn't supposed to? Some sort of cartel activity? It's possible. Others think that he was high on drugs, hence why in the call he seems to make very little sense at the beginning. Then there are those who think that he's the victim of a police cover-up. The land he disappeared on is owned by the sheriff, whose wife also runs the local newspaper. The sheriff is not allowing any more searches on his land, and Brandon's name rarely crops up in the paper. If he did indeed say that a state trooper pulled some guys over at the beginning, is it possible that, in some way, the authorities are involved in his disappearance? Well, whoever...
I've taken that road many times, and it is desolate, wild, and beyond pitch black and night. He obviously came across a sniper or cartel activity right out of Coen Brothers' film, and was chased into a field, executed, and buried. They need to extensively search the brushland, and the fact the local law enforcement has blocked their efforts looks like a cover-up of some sort. Big Texan 7, 2 years ago. You tell him, Big Texan. Yeah.
Brandon did run into that night. He was more scared of them than going to jail.
Oh. Joe Do. It's very unfortunate, but I think the local law enforcement are actually the ones behind the disappearance. I personally feel from all the evidence that is available and my own knowledge of what small town law bodies are like, that he stumbled upon them doing some business by accident and that they killed him and buried him somewhere. It's just too much of a coincidence that the land where he is was owned by the sheriff. They will not release the entire 911 call, just a poorly edited copy. They will not allow more searching of the sheriff's property where he disappeared because the deputies already searched it. The sheriff's wife owns/runs the local paper, and sure enough, there's almost nothing ever said about his case, etc. To me, it certainly seems that there is more out there in the field/trees that the sheriff's covered up, aka his body or a crime scene. The entire 911 call is gone, and they are trying successfully, I might add, to sweep this under the rug. People who aren't familiar with royal law royal law enforcement may think this is a stretch, but I can tell you firsthand that in these small towns out west, the cops are just people, and they can get into all sorts of stuff without ever being questioned, including dumping people in the hills. The hills have eyes. I personally know of unused private land out there to bury secrets. Joe, you might want to be quiet, but I can also tell you firsthand that it doesn't take very long for a couple of guys to dig an impromptu grave, so to me, this man was likely killed, stashed momentarily, and then buried, and sadly, his remains will probably never be found at this point. Damn, Joe, I agree with absolutely almost everything you fucking say. I do. Only thing might be a little difficult is I think one person can dig a grave fast enough, depending on the ground. Yeah. could have left the other cop there. The cops that was there investigating the truck could have been there too. They could be like, hey, go do something with that truck. That's probably what just got called in. They're there doing it. The brother shows up. They're just waiting. Maybe they would have killed them too. Oh my God, we need to move on.
Hence why he specifically asked the operator for
I'm about to send myself down a rabbit hole.
the cops, despite his outstanding warrant.
Late to the party, but was an officer ever sent out to respond to the original call that Brandon made? Nope. That's what it says. It says nope. Nuh-uh.
Whoever Brandon did run into that night, and whatever they did with him.
Sounds like he's either incoherent from injury, blood loss, or in a psychotic state. I think his wife and brother know more than they're letting on. Not that they're responsible, but there's some fishy things about the timeline of events that night. If we knew what the domestic dispute was about, we'd have more insight into Brandon's state of mind. Was he high on meth? I don't know. Was he drunk? I don't know. Did he have some sort of medical crisis like a stroke? I don't know. This 911 call doesn't make sense, and there's a reason for that. What that reason is anyone's guess. I personally think he was hit by a car and sustained severe head injuries and blood loss, which explains the rambling call. I think the call ends when he passed out from his injuries. There was no audible screams or struggle, just dead silence. Creepy.
We'll likely never know.
People are coming in like a wrecking ball with some of these comments, though. I like that. Murder, I see.
This entry is a little bit different to the others. The evidence is a video
And it's SC. You're der.
of the entire crime taken by the perpetrators themselves.
What? The murderers recorded the whole fucking thing? What was it gonna do? Sell it as a documentary? Murder's Gone Wrong. Season 1. Pilot. You're all going to jail. Shit!
For reasons that will become obvious, I'm only going to describe the footage rather than show it. In 2015, a mobile phone was found in the back of a Fijian taxi. On it was an extremely disturbing video taken somewhere in the Indian Ocean. The found footage was then posted online. In the video, we can see at least 4 unarmed men floating in the sea. Some of them cling to an upturned wooden boat. The men are surrounded by a number of large tuna fishing vessels. They're screaming and shouting as the men swim for their lives. To begin with, it's not obvious why. Then, over the ship's loudspeaker, a chilling command. Shoot. Guns are cocked and bullets fired. One by one, the men in the water are picked off by those on the ships. One of the victims even raises his hands in surrender, only to be shot in the head. He disappears under the water for a moment.
Why?
And then bobs back up to the surface, the ocean around him turning a dark shade of red. When all of the men in the water are dead, the killers pose for a selfie. Prosecutions for sea crimes like this are extremely rare. Some estimate it to be less than 1%. According to maritime security officials, hundreds are killed at sea every year for that reason. Looking at the size of the boats in the video, there must have been dozens of witnesses on board. Despite this, the killings went unreported. As of right now, the identity of the killers remains unknown, as does their motive for killing their defenseless victims. This could have been a territorial dispute, the settling of a grudge, maybe even the execution of a group of pirates. One thing's for definite though, this was murder. You can find the video quite easily online, but I seriously suggest you don't go looking for it. As you can imagine, it's quite graphic in places.
Man, it makes you lose all hope for humanity sometimes, you know?
32 years ago, the body of a disabled pensioner was fished from the Darling River in southeast Australia. The dead man's name was Ali Sommes, and he was riddled with bullet wounds. He'd been shot above each of his eyes, once in the back of the head, and in several other areas of his body. This wasn't just any old murder. This was an execution.
Yeah.
But why would anyone feel the need to kill a decrepit old man in such a violent fashion, and then so
Prove a
callously
point.
toss his body into the water?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's to prove a point. I don't know what that point was, but I say that's why it was done.
This seemed more like a mob hit than anything else.
I
But
did.
Ali had no connection to organized crime,
We
nor
don't
did he
know.
appear to have any real enemies.
We don't know.
By all accounts, he was a family man,
We
a
don't
pillar
know.
of his local community.
Like I say, we don't know. He could be a total shit behind closed doors. We don't know.
And the kind of guy who would help those in need. Still, we all harbor a few dark secrets, don't we? Some darker than others, I suppose. Ali was last seen outside a post office in Merbane at about 6:30 p.m. An eyewitness saw him arguing with a male and 2 females. What this argument was about remains unknown.
Prostitution.
These cockpit photos show what they looked like. The man and 2 women then drove off in a green Holden HQ with a white roof. It's believed that at some point after this argument, Ali was abducted. He was then taken interstate. The rest you can fill in with your imagination. The only other clue that the cops have been able to unearth is a mysterious photograph found in the glove box of Ali's car. The picture is of a mustachioed man in a tank top, smoking a cigarette. Nobody has ever been able to identify him. Not Ali's friends or family or any of the general public. In my opinion, he certainly bears a resemblance to the man Ali was seen arguing with.
It
The
does.
police believe that Ali was probably abducted by someone he knew. Well, it certainly seems like he knew this guy, seeing as he kept a picture of him in his car. Like Ali, the man appears to be of Turkish descent. What connection could there have been between the 2 men? Did Ali have a dark past that came back to haunt him? Was he involved in something he shouldn't have been, but managed to keep it a secret from everyone he knew? Most importantly, who exactly is the elusive man in the photograph? All of these questions have remained unanswered for the past 3 decades, and unfortunately, that seems unlikely to change, even with a $100,000 reward up for grabs. Without a doubt, there are people in the community who know what led to the death of Mr. Sommes, said Minister of Police Michael Gallagher. Whether those people come forward is another matter entirely.
Man, that would blow. 3 decades. 30 years. 30 fucking years. Nothing. But what if he did do something shady, like, or maybe his family did something shady, and I don't know how Turkish shit is, but I know, like, where I come from, shit roll downhill. If I can't get to that person, I'm going after that person. Family's got to pay. And they don't care. They don't care who it is. I mean, it very well could have been he had absolutely nothing to do with anything. They're trying to prove a point to this person. Go kill the family. It could have been something as easy as that. I don't know, man. I'm loving this video. There's so many rabbit holes I am slipping down. It's ridiculous. I'm loving every freaking minute of it. Yeah. Rockefeller.
The year was 1961. Michael Rockefeller, member of the esteemed and powerful Rockefeller family, was a
Pinkies
keen
up.
adventurer and ethnology enthusiast. Despite living an extremely privileged and comfortable life back in the States, the young Rockefeller had become restless. He craved, no, needed a change of scenery. And where better, he thought, than one of the most remote places on the planet, Netherlands, New Guinea.
That's
While
probably
on
not
an
a good idea.
expedition studying the Asmat people who lived there, Rockefeller's boat was swamped and overturned about 3 miles from the coast. The 2 guides on board swam back to get help, leaving Rockefeller and his companion, Rene Vessing, to cling to the boat and wait for rescue. This rescue was slow in coming. After being stranded for 2 days at sea, the pair had drifted approximately 12 miles from the shoreline.
12 miles.
Despite this, Rockefeller decided to take his chances. He jumped in the water and made for dry land. His companion was rescued the next day, but despite an intensive search and rescue effort, Rockefeller was never seen or heard from again. At the time, this was a major headline, and as such, there's been a huge amount of speculation over the years. The mystery is what happened to him. Well, the obvious answer is that he either drowned or died from exposure. Given that he was 12 miles from the shore, that makes a lot of sense. But Rockefeller was in great shape, and was still very young, only 23 when he went missing. Many believe that he made it to dry land, only to be captured by the Asmat people. Since headhunting and cannibalism were practiced by the tribe, it's thought that he may well have been killed and eaten. Indeed, there does appear to be quite a lot of evidence supporting that. One thing's for certain though, Michael Rockefeller died that day in 1961. Everybody agrees on that. That is, everybody agreed on that, until a piece of video footage that was filmed in 1969 recently resurfaced. It was captured close to where Rockefeller would have landed had he made it to shore. The footage shows 17 cannibal war canoes making their way across the water. For a brief moment, one member of the tribe stands out, his face partly covered by blue war paint. Could this be Rockefeller, the accomplished canoeist who wore a beard? Is it possible that he was accepted by the tribe and adopted their ways to survive? There are, of course, many skeptics, saying that the Asmat people would have definitely eaten an outsider. There are also those who say that this could just be an albino member of the tribe. Still, this image gives some credence to the theory that Rockefeller survived his ordeal.
I don't know. Like, I don't know much about albinoism, but doesn't it, like, make your hair lighter and your eyes different too? I mean, honestly, it does kind of resemble him. I mean, it could just be that he said it, so now I'm seeing it type thing. But take the glasses away, grow the hair out. I know it's all pulled over and everything, but look at the receding hairline. Look at the receding hairline. The beard, yeah, it's different, but I mean, it's going to be if you're not shaving. I mean, it very well could be. It'd be nice to think, though, wouldn't it? Even if it ain't. Nice to think. Yeah.
If this is indeed Rockefeller, is it possible that he could have been saved? After 8 years, would he have wanted to be? It's unlikely the young man's fate will ever be definitively proven, but this photo definitely makes the mystery more intriguing.
It does. Fucking rabbit hole again. Damn it. The
Just last
handbag.
month in Khabarovsk, East Siberia, a large bag was discovered, washed up on a small island in a river. It was discovered by fishermen in the area, who noticed that something suspicious was poking out of it. Inside, they found 54 severed human hands. Of course, when such a morbid discovery is made, the inevitable slew of theories start getting bounded around. Some people speculate that the hands were being collected by a Russian serial killer. Others think that Chinese gangsters are responsible, since the hands were discovered a mere 20 miles from the Chinese border. A few even believe
Maybe it was a traveling cater company and they took their menu very seriously and they made finger sandwiches. That was awful. I do apologize. I don't apologize. Fuck it. It was funny.
that the local Russian government is somehow involved. Perhaps
Probably.
the most gruesome theory, though, is that a syndicate of organ harvesters have been killing people, stealing their innards, and then hiding the severed hands of their victims so that the bodies can't be identified via their fingerprints. Officially, the Russian police have stated that the hands are simply from a forensic lab. In the biggest understatement of the century, they say that the hands were inappropriately disposed of. They also stressed that nothing nefarious was going on. Despite this reassurance, many Russian netizens remain unconvinced by this explanation.
I'm you cover up, bro. That is 100% a cover up. I don't care what any of them says.
They believe that the handling of the appendages isn't in keeping with how a forensic lab would operate, and that the bag was too suspiciously placed to not be criminal. The hands appear to have been stripped of their fingerprints. However, the local authorities have said that one hand still has an identifiable set. They're currently being analysed. As of right now, nobody is certain who the hands belong to, or why exactly they were left on the small island in the first place. Hopefully, after the surviving set of prints have been examined, we'll have a conclusive answer.
Maybe there's a really, really mean dance instructor out there that every time someone does jazz hands and they do it wrong, she cuts them off. Or it's that one mother out there that says, touch that again, I'm going to cut off your hand. That actually does. Stairway to Heaven.
This is the Haiku Staircase in Oahu, Hawaii. To locals, it's ominously known as the Stairway to Heaven. Built in 1942, the perilous trail consists of nearly 4,000 steps and leads climbers to the top of the Ko'olau mountain range. It's closed to the public, the entrance blocked and guarded. Still, that doesn't stop the occasional thrill-seeker from sneaking onto the structure. One such adventurer was Dalem Pua, better known as Moke. On the 20th
I think I missed it. Hold on.
Ko'olau mountain range. It's closed to the public, the entrance blocked and guarded. Still, that doesn't stop the occasional thrill-seeker from sneaking.
Does he not say why it's blocked off to the people? Is it just like massive disrepair? If it is, then why don't they fucking go out there and fix it? Because that's cool as shit. Cut that grass, buddy.
Onto the structure. One such adventurer was Dalem Pua, better known as Moke.
Moog.
On the 27th of February,
Like Mowgli.
2015, the 18-year-old left his grandmother's house, saying that he planned to go hiking. She warned her grandson to stay away from the Stairway to Heaven. She'd seen on the news that it was a forbidden trail. But you know how teenagers react when you tell them not to do something.
Shit, I was
At
there
11
yesterday.
a.m., Moke texted her a picture from, you guessed it, the Stairway to Heaven. He'd disregarded her warning and was making his way up the lonely trail. Not a wise move, she thought, but at least he was staying in contact. As he ascended the mountain, he he continued to update his social media pages and sent his family pictures of his journey to the top. Unfortunately, it seems he didn't make it all the way up. Moke sent this one final picture to his family. After that, all communication ceased. He hasn't been seen or heard from since. When his family realized he was missing, they immediately contacted the authorities. The Navy and the Honolulu Fire Department combed the area thoroughly. After an arduous 5-day search,
What was it that he took a picture of? Are we going to get back to that? Because it looked like there was something on it.
they found no trace of the young man. He had simply vanished off the face of the earth. Well, that's no mystery, you might be saying to yourself. The boy must have just fallen from the mountain on his way up. Indeed, that's what everyone initially thought. The thing is, he wasn't that far up the mountain when he took his last picture. He wasn't in an area that was difficult to search. And he wasn't alone. Did you notice anything unusual in Moke's last picture? After examining it in greater detail, investigators spotted something out of place. There, hidden in the bushes, was the shape of a crouching man. The question is, who is he? Was this just another adventurer on his way to the top? Some guy who was out exploring the area? Because of the way the man's crouched and partially hidden by the foliage, many people believe that he has something to do with Moke's disappearance. It's certainly easy to see how people can draw that conclusion. Moke made no mention of the man in the final message to his family. He may not have even realized that someone was following him up the mountain. Whoever this man is, he's yet to reveal his identity to the police, despite their best efforts to track him down.
Would you?
More than likely, he's innocent of any wrongdoing. But why hasn't he come forward? At the very least, he must have seen Moke in the moments leading up to his disappearance. Does he not want to admit?
Or maybe he didn't. It literally looks like he's taking a shit. I don't know about you all, but I take my sweet ass time. I go in there, I fix me a little appetizer, and give me a nice little drink, set me up, nice little concession stand, set the lights just right. You gotta have that mood setting. Turn that water on to where it's just, little, give you that rushing, get YouTube going, put on some slow jam in the background, you gotta finesse that out, bro. He could be taking a healthy duper. He might be there in a minute. Then again, it might be like, crazy homeless person is like, my home, I kill you. Like throws his poop at him, jumps up, starts beating him to death with like a stick or something. You never know.
That he was on the Forbidden Trail? Whatever the case, if Moke did die accidentally on the mountain, his body still remains unfound. Volunteers occasionally groom the area in search of his remains. Hopefully, his family can find closure.
That's sad. I like that one. Oh my god, like it was one continuous rabbit hole after another rabbit hole after another rabbit hole. Holy shit. I loved it though. I love rabbit holes. I love the fall in the craziness. It's like, yes, let's go insane together. I love it. Thank you so much for the suggestion. Oh. Whew. Man, I really did enjoy that. If you guys enjoyed that video as much as I did, please go down there and leave a thumbs up. If you're a fan of the spooky, scary, strange, deranged things that just send you down rabbit hole after rabbit hole after rabbit hole, come on down, bro. Call me out of the switch. Jump down that rabbit hole together. I don't give a damn. Yeah. As always, be good with one another. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. Wow. There was way too many videos and way too much craziness for me to just pick one. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Each and every single one of those blew my mind.